Huge week coming up this week. So January 15th marks the beginning of the 2024 Davos meeting, something I watch very closely every year. Now, I'll be watching the absolute hell out of this very closely, as should you, but I will be bringing the most important, craziest things to your attention. Here's the type of thing you expect to hear there. Check this out.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned.
That's from Davos a few years ago. So here's a few things on the Davos itinerary for 2024. Investments in AI-driven Hollywood. Addressing overpopulation and voluntary family planning in modern politics. Curbing unsustainable population growth. ESG and real estate. The metaverse, biotech, all world-shaping things that you could expect from Davos. And this comes on the heels of the 2024 World Economic Forum Global Risk Review coming out last week, saying that the number one risk of 2024 is misinformation. Last year, the number one risk was cost of living. But I want you to watch this video that I created in 2022, and it'll help you understand at a deep level what Davos is all about and why Trump was treated so differently as a president. I highly encourage you to watch this. Here it is. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why Trump was treated so differently than any other president. The World Economic Forum was founded 50 years ago by Klaus Schwab, and it's connected to literally everything. It's partners with all of the largest and most influential companies in the world. All the major banks, companies like Apple, Microsoft, everything you could think of. All the major media outlets. Not only that, but it has what's called a Young Global Leaders program, where it recruits and trains people every year and then deploys them out into the world to take on high-power political positions.
This notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. When I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, Vladimir Putin, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets.
Even a lot of American politicians are heavily influenced by the World Economic Forum. You could tell this because they always say the exact same things. Build Back Better was a World Economic Forum term before any of the American politicians started saying it. And then look at this montage.
Joe Biden calls it Build Back Better.
Build Back Better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
And build it back better.
My plan to build back better.
Start taking all the problems that have been created, education and mental health, and start to build back in a positive way.
I have launched a booklet called Build Back Better.
It's about building this country back better.
Growing conspiracy following it. It is called the Great Reset.
An unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live.
The great opportunity for reset.
The reason the World Economic Forum is relevant to the Trump presidency is because they are what's called Malthusians, which means they believe the planet is overcrowded and will not have enough resources for everybody. Therefore, Klaus' goals and the Economic Forum's goals have always been to shape policy in a way that slows population growth and slows resource consumption. So the forum is big-time globalists. They want to control the world as if it was a country, because what they want to do will have no impact unless they can implement their policies throughout the entire world. Now, the biggest obstacle to them achieving this has been the United States. Since the United States is such an enormous economy, powerful military, and strong-willed population, the Economic Forum has been forced to take a very slow approach at systematically trying to weaken the United States enough to succumb to their influence. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by slowly weakening the United States, think of the Biden, Obama, and Bush presidencies in an objective way. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have always thought about them. How is it possible that these idiots pretty much only done things that hurt America? How they be that incompetent with the strongest country in the world? Well, that was actually exactly what they were trying to do. They are all, in fact, globalists. They're very much in line with what the World Economic Forum is trying to do. So they dish out money like there's no tomorrow, dish out military aid like there's no tomorrow, create restrictive policies, self-regulate, self-restrict with energy, things that stunt business growth. So what the World Economic Forum is trying to do is going very well, all according to plan, right up until Trump shocked everybody and spontaneously ran for president and won. And the things that he was getting ready to do were a complete 180 from everything the World Economic Forum was trying to accomplish. So check this out. I found this great clip from Klaus right after Trump got elected.
We face the backlash of millions of people, particularly in the West, who feels that globalization is not working at their advantage. If you look what's happening in the United States, particularly, you have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system. So fixing the present system is not enough. Now there is, of course, an anti-system which is called libertarianism, which means to tear down everything which creates some kind of influence of government into private lives. It's dismantling the system, and we see certain elements of this now in the new US administration. Now, if we want to go forward, we need a completely new thinking, where the human being is again at the center, and societal advancement is at the center.
This next clip is from the annual Davos meeting, which is where the World Economic Forum meets with all the bigwigs around the world. And Trump had to go to it because the president always goes to it. So look at this clip. He goes in there like a bull in a china shop and does not hold back one bit for what he intends to do with America.
Please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
I'm here today to represent the interests of the American people. The world is witnessing the resurgence of a strong and prosperous America. I'm here to deliver a simple message. As President of the United States, I will always protect the interests of our country, our companies, and our workers. We will enforce our trade laws and restore integrity to our trading system. The United States will no longer turn a blind eye to unfair economic practices. We are lifting self-imposed restrictions on energy production to provide affordable power to our citizens and businesses and to promote energy security for our friends all around the world. No country should be held hostage to a single provider of energy. We have undertaken the most extensive regulatory reduction ever conceived. As President of the United States, I will always put America first, just like the leaders of other countries should put their country first also.
So as you can see, literally everything the World Economic Forum was trying to accomplish, Trump was undoing. He verbally attacked the globalists pretty much anywhere he went. Look, this is at the United Nations conference.
Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
Here's a great clip from Dr. Peter Pry from the PBD podcast. He's an expert in nuclear weapons and held several government positions.
The globalists want America to get weaker. That's been a divide, I think, that wasn't really appreciated until Trump came along, okay? With his America First policy, which is anathema to establishment Washington. That's because these people aren't nationalists, they're globalists. They want to use American power. They want to use America as an engine to realize a globalist world order, that's dominated by supranational institutions like the United Nations and the World Courts and the World Economic Forums, and the elites who run these things will be making the decisions for us.
The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the states of the world.
So as you can see after all this footage, there is a very intense fight going on that went very overlooked between the globalist agenda and nationalist agenda, and all those invisible forces that everybody felt swirling around Trump all the time. It seems that that had a lot to do with the World Economic Forum.
You can talk about China, Russia, the Middle East all you want, but you will not convince me that there's a greater threat to America and what America stands for than Davos, WEF, and this globalist movement, because the direct objective of globalism is to weaken America to the point where they could create a one-world government. And they say this. This isn't something you have to rely on my word to believe. This is something they outwardly say. I hope you got something out of this. God bless, and we will win this fight.